Well, right now, I want to get out to Chief Meteorologist Tara Lane live in Flat Rock for our hometown day. And Tara, it is a chilly and windy day up in the mountains right now.
Oh, Brian, it is. And so for the first time, I feel like this season, we're talking about the wind chill, and we'll be breaking out that wind chill map here shortly. But you heard the story from Julian here. We are standing right outside of that distribution center and this large donation center here in the Flat Rock area in Henderson County. People are still filing in. And we also met a man earlier and his pet llama. And he came here today to just help spread a little bit of joy to all of those people that are filing in. The llama's name is Reepicheep. Do you recognize that name? Those of you who have maybe read C.S. Lewis's books, The Chronicles of Narnia, that's where he gets his name from. And people just come up and hug the llama, and the llama just stands there, and he's so patient and tolerates all of the hugs and the kisses, and he loves to give out kisses too. So again, just that little bit of extra joy to spread to people who are in need after all the devastation from Helene. And as you mentioned, it's cold, it's windy out here today. We've got those frost and freeze warnings in effect for tonight. And just a reminder here, since we're standing in the Hendersonville area, how much rain this area received. Close to 22 inches as we take a look at just some of the sampling of those rainfall totals. We showed you this a couple of weeks ago, and places like Spruce Pine, and we were talking about Busick, North Carolina, 20 to 30 plus inches of rain. And on top of that, we had some of those intense wind gusts, 50 to even as high as 70, 80 miles per hour on some of those higher elevations. And so just did all this damage. But thankfully here today, and really for the rest of the past couple of weeks, they've enjoyed some nice weather and perfect conditions for all of this cleanup and recovery. We check out current conditions right now in the Hendersonville area. And again, it's chilly, it's blustery. Just a reminder, we still have some of those scattered power outages there, especially over the western part of the state. And so there are still people without power, plenty of people down through parts of South Carolina too, in this cold situation. We've got 51 in this part of Henderson County, and notice that sustained northwest wind at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Dew points are real dry, but that's not factoring in the wind gusts. Wind gusts are much higher, upwards of 20 to 25 miles per hour or so. So again, it makes it feel even colder out there. Check out some of those wind chill numbers. And this is what it feels like when that wind picks up. It feels like it's in, the 30s, especially in the higher elevations, 50s, close to 60. Not as much of a wind chill issue outside of the Piedmont there. And so we check out clouds and radar, and everything is cleared out. So we had that bout of snow in the high country last night, added up to about 1 to 2 inches in those higher elevations, a little bit of rain outside the mountains. Now we've got cold, high pressure settling in. Temperatures right now, area wide, are sitting again in the 50s. We're only around 60 degrees down through the Piedmont, east out toward the Sandhills, so cooler than yesterday, and lower 40s up in the mountains. As I mentioned, frost and freeze alerts coming up for tonight with the freeze warning in effect, where you see the dark purple, including here in the Flat Rock and Hendersonville area, and frost advisory across the Piedmont down into South Carolina. So if you do still have some outside plants, sensitive vegetation, you want to protect them before bed tonight. This is how cold it's going to be come tomorrow morning. We've got those lows that will end up in the 20s up in the mountains, and then 30s, mid to upper 30s in most other cases. However, still with a lingering breeze, it's going to feel like it's dropping into the upper teens and some of those higher elevations. And speaking of, so that low 37, that's getting into record territory in Charlotte, awfully close to that record of 35 from back in the early 2000s. The average low should only be around 50 degrees. So we check that temperature setup here and a look at that map. And we've got that low pressure to the north and then high pressure to the west. And yeah, that is keeping that cooler flow in place. And so tomorrow we're back to blazing sunshine, and temperatures will still be running below normal, about 10 degrees below normal for this time of the year. The high for tomorrow, about mid 60s, and the wind thankfully will be settling a little bit. The mountain forecast, let's check that out over the next 5 days. And again, staying cold for tonight, obviously, and even into tomorrow. However, there. Nice sight to see. We have those warming temperatures ahead going through the weekend and next week. In fact, let's check out that temperature outlook across a good part of the lower 48. And you can see those warmer temperature colors. So we're going from below normal to even perhaps a little above average for next week. Those high temperatures there, you can see go from only 60s the next couple of days to back in the mid 70s. And so tomorrow's highs, as we look around the region, again, topping out around the mid 60s. So still a cooler day with those 50s up in the mountains, but the 7-day forecast shows the warmer weekend ahead and continued cooperation from the weather here for that cleanup and this line of cars filing in. No wet roads to deal with here to pick up those donations. Brian.